Good morning, everyone. Eric here from Nomadic Fanatic. Hope you guys are doing well. Today I will be uploading this video with some connected internet, so check out the video description below for unlimited high-speed internet how I'm uploading this video right now today. Today, we're going to sit down, we're going to have a little chat, and I'll let you know about something going on in this country as another state, the one that surprises me, has chosen to criminalize living in your RV, what I'm doing right now. And we're going to talk about why I think the end is coming for RV life today. Again, thanks for joining me, guys. Most importantly, if you want to follow along with me and fact check with me, I'm going to try to read everything word for word and not try to give my opinions of things. But there's a link, actually a pinned comment. That'll be the best way to find it. Or you can go to the video description, click on that, because what I want to talk about today mostly is the newest Senate bill that has passed, Senate Bill 1141. By the State Affairs Committee, and this is related to a new state that I have not talked about recently, a state that I have definitely spent a lot of time in an RV in. We're going to get to that, but first I want to get you caught up on what's going on in my life, because the events that I'm about to tell you and the domino effect going on directly relates to my life, and I think a lot of people watching this. I mean, you saw the thumbnail. This is real, guys. This is absolutely real. So go ahead and pause this video and go down to the video description or the first pinned comment. Open up that document because we're going to talk about that first. Okay, you ready? So this is the latest one. It is actually the second one this year, Florida being earlier in the year, but now Idaho, guys. Idaho has criminalized living in a vehicle. Again, I know as we go through this, a lot of you are going to think, oh, Eric, that's not what that means. That's not how you interpret that law. Or, Eric, that doesn't affect you. Don't even worry about it. I want you to put aside your feelings and opinions, and I want you to look at the facts and how it's written with me. So I want you to try to just focus here with me and go through this, because what this is it's criminalizing living in a vehicle. And so this bill specifically has definitions for what a vehicle is, okay? I should also mention that this bill had a previous draft version that did not actually include all vehicles. Recreational vehicles, quoted this, a recreational vehicle was added in the final version, as well as it was only supposed to affect cities in Idaho with a population over 100,000 people in each city. The final version now includes specifically RVs as vehicles, so don't be confused. We're talking about everyone who lives in an RV, because it's written in the law that way, and it's a statewide ban. Now, Idaho is actually going to be the 11th state in our country to criminalize living in your vehicle. Those states, I'm reading off this line here: California, New York, Tennessee, Colorado, South Dakota, North Carolina, Washington, Oregon, Mississippi, Florida, of all places, earlier this year, and yes, now Idaho is criminalizing living in your vehicle. Now, in order to prove that you're living in your vehicle, there has to be some definitions, okay? And that's what this talks about. How do we prove you're living in your vehicle? Also want to mention that this only includes, except for Colorado, the 10 states besides Colorado, this only includes living in your vehicle on public property. For instance, right now I'm parked at a Walmart. This is private property, okay? I can go in and I can purchase camping paraphernalia, as they call it. That's how they determine whether or not you're living in it. So I can go purchase a sleeping bag. I can go purchase a blanket, a sleeping bag, a tent, and I can bring those out here and I'm fine. However, the way the law is written here, as you're going to see, as soon as I hit public roadway, public areas, I'm actually committing a crime, according to Idaho state and 10 other states. Now, right now it's only public land, so private campgrounds, designated RV parks, and any private land is not included in this bill, except for in Colorado. In the state of Colorado, it is illegal to live in any vehicle, including an RV, on your own owned property. Now, if that's not terrifying enough. So, Bill 1141. Statewide ban on unauthorized public camping or sleeping. Go down to section 2 here. For the purposes of this section, public camping or sleeping means unauthorized lodging or residing in a temporary outdoor habitation used as a dwelling, lodging, or living space, which may be evidenced by the erection of a tent or other temporary shelter, including a motor vehicle as described in section blah 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 Idaho Code, or, here's the new part, a recreational vehicle as defined in section blah blah blah. Idaho Code, it may include the presence of bedding, pillows, cooking appliances, heat sources, or the storage of personal belongings. Who doesn't travel with personal belongings? We could all fall under that category. Any vehicle out there that has personal belongings in it is proof, according to Idaho, that you are living in said vehicle and committing a crime if you're in the public. What you'll notice about this Senate bill and the other 10 in the other states is that they're written very open-ended to basically include everything and anything, okay? The mere fact that you know, everyone who purchases a sleeping bag and leaves private property is committing a crime. I mean, how can that be possible? And then you get to people who would say, Eric, it's not enforced that way. Okay, if it's not enforced that way, then why was it written that way? It's all about enforcement. That's where things get really hazy as we move forward in this conversation, because a lot of people feel that these laws are being passed for a certain type of person, a certain individual who is a disgrace on society and parks their raggedy, broke-down car and camps and lives in there and is a disgrace to the area. So go target them, arrest them, and then, because but the problem is you didn't write it that way. As a matter of fact, you went to extra effort to include every single person in any kind of vehicle, which is all of us in an RV. As a matter of fact, even if you're a perfect law-abiding RVer and you only go to designated RV parks, you check in at noon, you plug in, you park 2 feet away from everybody else, you pretend like you're camping, even though you're just parking in an RV park, and then they kick you out the next morning at 11. Well, from 11 a.m. to noon, while you're driving with all your illegal paraphernalia, camping equipment in any vehicle, whether it's an RV, car, van, SUV, that 1 hour that you're in a public area, you're all committing a crime in these 11 states now, because that's the way the law is written. Again, you can argue with me, but I'm asking you to look at the document and the way the law was written. Why didn't they add exceptions for transporting to the next campground? How come it's just plain and simple, we're all breaking the law by just traveling in public spaces with personal storage? It's terrifying how open-ended some of these laws are being written. Washington State was the laughingstock of this, pre-2020, and now we have 10 other states who have emulated that and copied that, and Florida and Idaho adding to that list. You start feeling like this changes things for us. This is almost scary, right? This section does not prohibit or prevent overnight camping for recreational purposes on property designed for such purpose, or authorized overnight parking at Idaho rest areas or private businesses that are in compliance with the established rules, meaning RV parks, rest areas. However, any other public area that's not designed to camp in your vehicle, it's criminalized. The act of physically occupying a vehicle like this that has that kind of paraphernalia and personal belongings is now criminalized, also in the state of Idaho and 10 other states. Comment section is open below. Feel free to chime in. I know everyone's going to have an opinion and an interpretation of what these laws mean. I'm going to ignore those ones because I feel like some people just don't care about certain laws either. So a lot of you out there aren't scared by this if you're in Idaho. Maybe that's your circle. Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, all 3 states that have criminalized living in any vehicle unless you're doing it exactly how those states want you to do it in an RV park at $90 a pop. And they'll say, I'm going to do it anyway. They can't prove it. They can't catch me. They're not going to mess with me because they're going to mess with those guys. They're not going to mess with me. That's often the kind of mentality that I've been getting from a lot of my peers, you know, that travel full-time like this. However, I'm a YouTuber, and YouTube would call me an influencer, meaning what I say, I can influence enough people, in this case 241,000 possible subscribers. And so I need to be honest and give facts, and then let you go do your own research and interpret those facts and figure out what you want to do. It concerns me the way the laws are written, and I'm not the type of person to say, go ahead and do it anyway. Just go to Idaho, live in your vehicle, and do it anyway. They're not going to pick you. The cops are only going to mess with that guy over there. I can't do that. I can't justify that. I'm looking at that as a perspective like, let's go back to the year 2020, 5 years ago, when we learned exactly what we thought our government could and wouldn't ever do to us. Well, it's pretty crazy what they did to us and how they treated us and the laws that they magically put on us. So now that we have 11 states since then who have criminalized living or transporting personal belongings in a vehicle, if this isn't a red flag, because this is a domino effect. This continues to happen. It's like we get 3 or 4 every year now since 2020 when we reopened everything, and it is going to continue. So right now, I believe, this is again my opinion, I believe that we are in a blockbuster phase. I believe that we have been given enough signs in the RV community to be able to say, uh-oh, the end is near. Blockbuster, wake up. The end is near. It is time to take the facts and adapt, move, and make some changes, because it's obviously what's going on around us and what's going to come. Blockbuster being my example, because Blockbuster chose to ignore the fact that people weren't renting VHS and DVDs anymore, while other companies capitalized on streaming services, and Blockbuster went bankrupt because they chose to ignore all the obvious signs around them. And I think that there are a lot in the RV community who feel better about ignoring what's going on in these 11 states around them because they just don't want to deal with it. They don't want to believe that it's going to affect them. And the fact is, it can affect any of us, unless you're at one of those state-owned RV parks that are authorized and you never move. That's what they want you to do. That's what they want. See, the government doesn't want people like me and the other 1.2 million American full-time RVers who choose this lifestyle over a stick and bricks. They don't want us to be able to put solar on our roof and have batteries and stay unplugged off-grid out of the RV parks for 10 to 14 days at a time before we need to check back in for water, dump our tanks, and wash our clothes and stuff like that. They don't want that. And so everything I've worked to achieve in 13 years of being a full-time nomad, 15 years. I've been doing this 15 years, since 2010. I've been sharing it publicly for 12 years, since 2013 now. I have pushed this lifestyle. Everybody calls it an alternative lifestyle, or people have even said I've got an unconventional lifestyle. Not really so much anymore. I think it has definitely caught on. As I get older and live this life, I definitely see that more and more people are actually choosing to do it this way instead of do the RV parks and side by side, and it's better. You get better stuff. But I bring this up because I'm now to a point in my life where I can talk to my friends and Diana about what's going on around us, and do I want to keep fighting this? You know, do I have the fight in me? I'm 44 years old, and the road is already exhausting me, and the crazy weather, and the full campgrounds here in Michigan. We're actually back at Walmart today because we cannot find an open campground. That's what happens when you take away the free campgrounds and you start stripping away all the places we used to be able to go. You just got more people that want to live this lifestyle, and then it just clogs everything. And we're up here in the upper Michigan Peninsula and finding that all of the campgrounds are still full. Almost like we should have never left Hovey Lake. Should we even go back and try it, or are we going to have the same problem as before? I had an answer to all of this. I had a really good answer to all of this. Those of you who have been with me on this channel, I know I have a lot of new people watching this particular video because of the thumbnail. And just, you know, I want to get the word out. I know there's a lot of other YouTubers talking about it too, but I had an idea and it kind of worked. You know, I went to the one county in this country where it's like anything goes. Like, you don't need permits for that much stuff. You can live in Apache County, Concho, Arizona. Yeah, you can buy your acre and then you can live in your RV for as long as you want. There's no restrictions. There's no time limit to build. It's one of the few places in this country that I know of where you can legally live in your RV on your property and just camp in your RV or your vehicle without government butting in. But just a couple months after I bought my property, Taterland there, my 1 acre, something surprised me, and that was Apache County and St. John's, the city, the county seat. They proposed getting rid of it and making us all not be able to live in our vehicles and RVs anymore and trailers and have to make us build houses. Well, it didn't go off too well because a lot of the locals showed up to that public meeting, and Apache County backed down real quick. That's not to say they won't bring it up again, but I think they'll bring it up in a different way that's not so public. I think they'll write something like pass a state bill in Arizona, and then Apache can be like, well, we can't do anything, it's a state issue now. Don't quote me, but I think Apache County is safe. I hope it's safe. I've got a lot of friends out there. I have talked to Diana about buying another piece of property out there and completely starting over out there. The one place where the government doesn't get involved with where I want to live my life, inside an RV. I'm happy with this. Or the 40-foot bus I'm building down in southern Mississippi, you know. However, one of the things that happened to me in 2020 when the world was shutting down and the president and the authorities were telling all of us full-time RVers, all 1.2 million of us, you know, go home, stay home. We are home. We live in our, what does that mean? We don't have a home. We live in our RV. It was very confusing times, and we didn't know what to do. We weren't allowed to travel, but they told us we had to go home. Well, anyway, what became of that for me? You guys remember? I went against everything I always said, and I bought a house. I bought a house. Couldn't buy any furniture because all the furniture stores were closed. I did buy a house, and I complied with government. Government was so happy with me. Little caveat to that is I kind of liked it. I liked it. I liked having what I called a home base. It was convenient. It was something new for me. It was something, as a full-time RVer, a lot of us don't get to experience, having a safe, comfortable place to come home to that's climate controlled and that has all of our stuff that we've collected, and it's a safe, secure place to take a break from the road. I really, really liked that part of it. I'm not saying I want to do that full time. I'm a nomad. I'll always be a nomad no matter what. However, with the events and this domino thing going on, again, going back to the whole blockbuster syndrome, it would be a mistake for me not to act on what's going on right now and find another way to live my life safely and have something to fall back on. Whether that be property or whether that be some kind of a structure that allows me to still live my lifestyle in my RV or fix up my bus on my own property without people telling me I can't do it, that sort of thing. So I think this little summer trip for me, and I'm not going to speak for Diana, but this summer trip for me has taught me that I need to start looking into some alternatives. And behind the scenes, I am looking into those alternatives. I'm doing it remotely from Michigan. I've got friends in Arizona. I've got friends in Illinois. That want to help me, that are right now trying to help me find some solitude and some peace and some stability in my life. And Diana fully supports me in this. Diana actually has a place in California to go to if she needs to come off the road. Her family house there in the LA Long Beach area, she's even invited me to come out there and given me a room all to myself if I choose to, although I don't know where all my stuff would go. I don't know where my bus, my RV, my trailer, my truck, a motorcycle, none of that will fit there. But she has offered that to me. And I have offered up to Diana, you know, what if we find our little slice of paradise where we can go do our own thing, but also have something to fall back on in case the next state, I mean, what is the next state going to be? Is it going to be Texas? Is Texas going to be the next state to criminalize living in a vehicle, occupying a vehicle, and storing your personal belongings inside a vehicle in public places? I wouldn't rule it out, guys. I honestly wouldn't rule it out. For reference, if you're watching this in the future, it is August of 2025 as I'm filming this. And like I mentioned, we now have 11 statewide bans on living in vehicles. We have lots and lots all over, you know, just cities. Actually, Dallas and Fort Worth are two of those cities in Texas. So you can't tell me that Texas will never pass a statewide ban on RVs in public places. Although currently Texas does allow anybody in a vehicle to rest for 24 hours at a rest area, picnic area, roadside table, that type of stuff. But guys, we all know things can change. Things can change quick. So what do you think is going to be the 12th state to criminalize living in a vehicle? What do you think? I'm not going to speculate, but if you think you know what the next state is, leave me a comment below. And also, if I've missed some states that are kind of mostly, like if there are a lot of cities in your state, but it's not a statewide ban, but there's a lot of cities in New Jersey or Georgia or something like that. Mississippi, that one surprised me. That one surprised me a lot. Anyways, I hope I've helped educate you. I also felt that I needed to make this video because Diana and I are struggling to find camping right now. We're not giving up. We're not giving up. But what I want you to realize is that I've got some things brewing in the background. Okay? Got some things brewing in the background. And if any of these do come to full fruition or end up becoming a fact, I will keep you updated. In the meantime, we are going to try to stay in states that do not criminalize our lifestyle. I'm not going to put money and support any state who does not want me there, right? And I wish you guys the best of luck. That's pretty much it. I'll update you later. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. I'll try to get back to as many people as I can. You guys be well. Diana is out running errands in her bus. I'm going to pack up, and we are going to keep traveling in Upper Michigan this month for a little bit longer, unless something changes. We'll see. Bye, guys.